What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the show, guys. Thank you guys very much. Your boy Juices is here, guys. Look, we are back with another harsh reality. We're going back on the four Idaho students that was actually brutally stabbed. So they haven't found a knife. They haven't found the killer. They haven't found no DNA. So they say they haven't, anyways. But have they? Guys, we got to actually think too. This is actually a college house that had parties in it. This was a number one sought out house when it comes to college kids off campus. So does that have anything to do with actually a target on the number one sought out house of college kids in Idaho, Moscow, Idaho? Guys, so with that being said, guys, we have another harsh reality reaction, guys, coming to you guys. Idaho latest law enforcement back at taking evidence. So they actually had the back sliding glass doors actually taped off with red, so that the killer did enter that way. We know that much, guys. But where do you go from there? We actually don't know until they actually tell us. And there's a lot of speculations going on this, guys. But let's hear this out. Let's hear harsh reality out. I'm actually going to give my reaction, pause through it. Afterwards, we're going to talk about it. But first, love yourself, like yourself, be nothing but yourself. Like, subscribe, channel, it's highly appreciated, and it's free, guys. Anyways, let's jump right into the video.
From the day that this happened, we're now really focusing on what is going on. You know, how far along in the investigation are law enforcement getting? Are they getting closer to a conclusion? Is there more clues coming out as more people have an interest in it? You know, I know that some people are dead set against the likes of social media and the so called armchair detectives getting involved. But look, this ain't Truckee. This isn't a situation where we're hearing people say that they specifically don't want anybody involved and they've got this hatred towards social media. And there's a lot of people who are now on the hunt themselves to look at the people who were connected to the people involved in this situation, most specifically, obviously, the victims themselves. And, you know, you can
And it's not Chucky neither, guys. And what I mean by that is we don't have multiple teens going up missing here. We don't. We have a fact of a murderer running around, and they're thinking they're tying this murderer back with another murderer in Oregon. I do believe it is, guys. They was brutally stabbed the exact same way in Oregon. So how is this person actually seeking out people watching? And they think that he's actually watching every move of people and getting down their patterns and everything else, just like a serial killer or a murderer does. It's crazy, guys, that this world has come to this, but there's these type of people all over, and it'll never stop. Anyways, guys, let's jump right back to the video.
go onto social media and find out many, many things. You know, we're seeing connections to OnlyFans pages and things like that. And we know, you know, I've got nothing against OnlyFans pages, but we know the kind of crowd that can sort of bring attention from. And maybe, just maybe, that's how this group of girls managed to spike some maniac's attention. Now, I'm not saying that any of these specific girls have got an OnlyFans, but there are certainly girls around this group who, if you do a little bit of digging, you can find out that they have. And look, again, I state I'm not saying that everybody who looks at these sort of pages have a criminal intent, but it's enough to spark someone's curiosity if they have inclinations of a nefarious nature. That may have indeed been the catalyst to bring attention if these girls are involved in things like that. We know that they all went out separately. We don't yet know who was the initial target or whether this was the house that was targeted or whether it was one specific person. We're no real further forward. We've seen the profilers state that they believe that this was a male with no real skill involved from what I was saying in the video yesterday. I do beg to
And see, they also go on to forward to say that the killer was sloppy, guys. If the killer was that sloppy, guys, why don't we have something showing us who this killer is? The knife's not there. You mean to tell me he brutally stabbed four people? There's no footprints of his shoes walking out with blood on them. There's no blood handprints that he left behind of his fingerprints. There's nothing like that that they could actually scan or anything like that, guys. Come on, the FBI could do whatever they basically want. They could take codes and decipher it in writing we never even seen before. They can do it. The killer left nothing behind, or they would have done had the suspect. The killer's done this before. This is not his first time. He got away too clean. He's did this probably multiple times. He's probably actually a serial killer that's actually doing this. And whether we like it or not, that's actually what we're facing here. These girls actually got killed by, murdered by. And it goes on to ask this question as well, guys. So they have a back patio on top and bottom. They're girls. They do TikTok videos. And the apartments across the way, actually, you could see the back patio from all these apartments that's behind their house. You know, they laid back there in bathing suits and whatever else they may have seen. It's a college party house. So back behind it is wooded. So do you think maybe this killer was stalking them out through the back sliding glass doors? Because they had no curtains up, guys. They had none. So you could see straight in the house at nighttime. The back's wooded. This absolutely blows my mind, guys, because we don't have a murder weapon. We don't have the person. We have no hair follicles. The house is DNA covered because it's a party house. But no one heard anything. 2 survivors in the basement. Just doesn't make sense, guys. Anyways, let's jump right back to the video.
To differ, I think that there was an element of skill involved, but I think the most credible thing that they've said, and something that they're going back to, is the fact that they're going to concentrate on the stalker element. I'm going to bring this up because they've gone back to the house now. Now, what they're saying is, I believe it's the FBI. They have gone back to the house and they are looking again. They've come out of the house with some evidence bags, it would say. Look, it said investigators returned the Idaho home Friday, where 4 college students were stabbed to death in their sleep earlier this month. Collected small bags of evidence, then met up with the Latah County prosecutor inside police headquarters after sundown. Now, what I will say to this is what they're saying has spurned this to go back is that they're now concluding that the likelihood is that the perpetrator entered via the rear door. Well, I thought that we was already at that stage. You know, we've got the victims on different floors, and it would appear that the girls who were asleep, the surviving members, would have been the first victims, if you like, had they have gone through the front. So it would appear that the sliding door was the point of entry. But this has led them to go back to look over this scene again that hasn't now been had anybody near it for a few days, and to see what they can find. And it would appear that they have come out of there with some fresh evidence. All we can do at this stage is wait and see what happens. You know, this is now.
Well, good. I hope that if they come out with fresh evidence, they find something. Because this is getting kind of old, guys, about cops and the FBI just not doing anything. It's an accident. Oh, it's a drug overdose. And then they actually get a DNA or get a autopsy done and there's nothing in their system. What is it going to be next? This is a never-ending cycle with this whole ordeal. It's just like if they don't have evidence, it's like, oh, well, I don't want to ruin my reputation. So it's an autopsy done and, oh, she had drugs in her system. And the parents are like, I didn't know my daughter done drugs. So that person just never done drugs their whole entire life and they just can't figure it out. So they give a reason why and put it on her death certificate. And I'm not talking in particular people. I'm talking within general. This is actually what happens. They give the death certificate to the parents and be like, yeah, drugs. And no drugs was in her system. But now her parents think that they she died from drugs. It's a crazy world that we're living in. Anyways, guys, let's jump right back to the video.
Now just the waiting game in terms of knowledge to the public. But are we any closer? Who knows? We have no clue. All we can hope is that, all of this effort that law enforcement seem to be putting in, they do seem to be putting some graft in. We can't sort of criticize them for that. They've worked through the holidays. They're clearly going backwards and forwards to this, and there are other factors involved. And they are taking this stalker element, which I believe was Kaylee, who they said was being stalked. Now let's just go back over here. There was a link to the screen. It was here, look. The stalker issue. So yeah, let me just go back. I'll drag this out of the way. Don't want my pretty face in the way, do we? Get me over here. I want to be right. Let's go. Kaylee Guncal was one of the 4 university students.
He said, I don't want my pretty face. Kind of like it's time for meat and potatoes. I like that, guys. I love Harsh Reality. Harsh is probably one of my favorite true crime channels, guys. Anyways, that said, let's get back to the video.
Killed in a shocking pre-dawn stabbing attack this month may have had a stalker. So yeah, Kaylee was the one who they're saying could have had a stalker. And I do feel that that holds some weight and credibility. At the end of the day, someone entered this home and they must have had some knowledge of what they were going to see once they entered this home. I suppose, what ground zero was going to be like in terms of potential confrontation and the ability to carry out whatever they were going to do. I do feel that holds huge credibility. Police are asking anyone with information on the subject.
See, Harsh, I thought that too, but if you really think about this whole ordeal, they're comparing it to the killing in another state. So that goes to tell me that they've studied that killing as well. So maybe the knife actually matches that killing they're tying this into of back in Oregon. Maybe that's what they're looking at, what they're doing. This type of stabbing. How many times was the victim stabbed? Where was they stabbed at? Did that actually coincide with the victims in Oregon? Just different stuff they could actually look at. How the killer entered the building or the house in Oregon due to how they entered this house. Was it actually college people? They're looking at different things here, gathering information, gathering, what they can, DNA inside the house, but there's so much DNA, guys. It's a party house. People vomits on the floor and other stuff. I'm sure it's happened. This is the most sought out house in Moscow, Idaho for college students off campus. And guys, it's probably a 30-year-old home. So there we go. And yeah, she did have a stalker. She told that to her professors. But why are they trying to tie this into Oregon? Are they just trying to give us answers, guys, that's false? Because it happens. Because the stabbings in Oregon does seem to coincide with this one. I 100% agree with that. But I'm just interested to see what they actually say happened here in this case. Anyways, guys, let's get right back to the video.
Subject to contact them as their homicide investigation enters its 12th day without a suspect. Obviously, it's got some information regarding that. We don't need to go over all that again. People know what was happening and where people were. But yeah, very, very frustrating at the moment. Now, with regards to the food truck and whether the girls pay, the point being put across was the fact that I believed that the girls had paid for the food. It was actually Joe who had turned around in his interview and stated that they had not paid. And I feel that that is a very important part. Are people trying to put information in that was incorrect? And if so, why are they? I'm not going to say any more on that individual at this stage. And those
Because if people doesn't tell you the truth, then you run away with this whole thing. You speculate. You put in places. Conspiracy theorists actually trying to put in numbers to this whole case. Venmo numbers, money sent to the girls of $6, making it all kinds of stuff, putting together codes that doesn't even exist. That's what's happening with this case. And that's really a true thing happening. I feel like this, guys. If you don't want to be 100% serious with this case, if you're just in this case in true crime or whatever else it may be to actually just make money, then just leave it alone. Nothing to do with numbers in the Venmo money sent has to do with anything of how many times the victims was stabbed, how many victims was in the home. There was 6 victims in the home, and $6 was sent to one of the girls' Venmo. Well, why 6? Who knows why 6, but it wasn't for the victims in the home. Nobody else seen that 6 number. That's people speculating on things that is trying to blow this case up, something that is not, and then it's going to be forgotten. That's what's going to happen with this case, guys. It happened with Kylie Rodney. Her case is still not closed. Guys, it happens to teenagers, kids, and adults all the time, and we never get our answers that we want besides, oh, she was on drugs or he's suicidal, or you see what I'm saying? We can go on ever with this. Every single day this is happening. Even with our kids today. Running outdoors, put up cameras, put up sensors. All you got to do. And if these people would have had cameras and sensors up, they would have known someone came inside their home. And if they didn't know when the killer did actually get to them, the parents would have known already who the killer was. That's facts. Anyways, guys, let's jump right back to the video.
Those of you who have the ability and the want to go out and get information yourself and have a look, you'll probably understand as to why. Some of the people around these girls have a very, very shady past, and it's some reading. But again, for the purpose of the integrity of this case and the potential that there could be other people looking at this, I would just implore anybody to go and have a look yourself. Have a look at some of the names that have cropped up, and yeah, go and have a look. There are a lot of things that you can find out yourself. I'm just not going to be, in this case, going to be one of them channels that spreads it all onto the platform at this stage, because I feel that there is a potential that that could be of interest. I know that certain information about certain people have indeed been sent to law enforcement already, but it does make for some pretty crazy reading. But at the moment, we're still in a situation where we don't know exactly what happened. It would appear at this stage that there is a potential that a stalker was stalking one or more of these victims, have entered that property in the early hours of the morning. They've gone in through the back of that house and attacked and killed these students. They've left, they've got away, and they're currently off grid. But what has law enforcement got to do now? They've got to see if there's anybody who would normally be about who now isn't about. Is there any movements that have sort of differed from sort of pre to post? And check up on everybody who had something to do with these victims in any way, shape, or form. The Venmo payments, go back over them and have a look and see if any of them hold any importance whatsoever, any relevance, such as the reference of 3:30 a.m. on Jack's sister's payment. And I'll draw your attention what I said at the beginning and what we was talking about, and Jack's sister. There's a little bit of a clue for you, but yeah, that's all we've got at the moment. There's no new information out apart from the fact that they are going back into the property. They have come out of there with some evidence bags, and they're particularly looking into the potential that there was a stalker involved. So with that, I shall see you all in the next one.
There you guys go. Idaho, 4 students brutally stabbed, guys, and they're finally getting evidence. Finally. This is going on 2 weeks, guys. We have nothing. We have no knife. We have 12 days, 13 days, I do believe. So basically 2 weeks. We have nothing to show who this killer is. Was this killing actually, do you guys think it was actually tied in with the stabbing in Oregon? Let me know in the comments, guys. Anyways, I'm going to jump off of here, guys. But first, love yourself, like yourself, be nothing but yourself. Like, subscribe to the channel, it's highly appreciated. Your boy Deuces is out. Thank you guys. Have a good one.